Trojan Sports Now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Trojan Sports Now. I'm Jahmal Kennedy.
And I'm Renfrow. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics. And now we have arrived at the Trojan football team, a team that now for the first time since the year 2000 has started its season off with a 3-1 record after defeating New Mexico State on Saturday night. 146 Trojan fans packed into Veterans Memorial Stadium on Saturday night for the Trojan football team's first conference game of the season against New Mexico State. The Trojans defeated the Aggies by a final score of 52-6.
That was a good win over a New Mexico State team that I think is going to be competitive and win some games in our league for sure.
And when looking at each phase of Saturday night's matchup, Coach Brown says special teams were the difference in the game. The Trojans finished with 6 touchbacks, a 100-yard kick return to start the second half, and a blocked punt that, as you can see, caught the Photog off guard and resulted in a Trojan touchdown.
Big advantage in special teams, something we take pride in here, something we invested a lot of time on. So that was promising. Really 2 weeks in a row that I thought the difference in the games were special teams.
And on the offensive side of the ball, Coach Brown says the Trojans came ready to play.
Offensively, this was the most complete game that we played all year. We played much cleaner. We only had one offensive penalty.
The Trojan offense finished with a total of 492 yards on the night. But against a team that Coach Brown says is one of the best offenses in the country, the Trojan defense finished with a total of 5 interceptions. And along with those 5 interceptions, the Trojan defense held the Aggies to just 94 yards on the ground.
And we stopped the run. We made them one-dimensional. I think they averaged 2.8 yards per carry, and they only scored 6 points. At the end of the day, you look at a lot of stats defensively, but the only one that matters is scoring defense.
And sticking with that scoring Trojan defense, after Saturday night's 5 interceptions, the Trojans have already surpassed last year's total of 6 and have intercepted the ball at least once in 5 straight matchups dating back to last season.
The running back Jabir Fry was named the Sun Belt Conference Special Teams Player of the Week earlier this week. He's the second Trojan to gain that honor this season after last week senior kicker Ryan Kay received the award for his execution and the victory against Southern Miss. Troy dominated on the field this weekend, and Fry, a native of Pensacola, Florida, made a couple of incredible plays in the conference home opener against New Mexico State this past Saturday to assist in the Trojans' 52-6 dub. Head coach Neil Brown says Fry's impact on special teams has been noticeable so far this season, and he's doing his job.
We had a 100-yard kickoff return. That's our most improved aspect on the team, and it doesn't have a whole lot to do with schematics or blocking, or it just has to do with a recruited returner. I mean, that's what it is, and we recruited Jabir to do that, and looking forward for the next 4 years with him doing that. He's talented.
With his 100-yard return on Saturday night, Fry joined 6 other Trojans and a pair of Troy elite in that category. I don't know, you may have heard of them before. Super Bowl winner Jarrell Jernigan and Pro Bowler Leotis McKelvin.
And they may as well have their own website, www.3wins-1 for this Trojan team. The first 3-1 start since the year 2000. And if you haven't already heard what all these Trojans have accomplished so far, let's take a look at the first few games of the season and Saturday's defensive performance against New Mexico State. First, it was a victory against the Governors of Austin Peay. Then, after a close loss to the Clemson Tigers, the Trojans have since won 2 straight games. The first being a road game over in Mississippi against the Southern Miss Golden Eagles.
Thompson evades one man, too easy.
And second, a 52-6 home victory against New Mexico State.
It feels good to actually feel like this. We've seen it before the season. Honestly, we didn't see ourselves losing that one game at Clemson, but hey, can't get it back. And on the defensive side of the ball in Saturday's performance, the Trojans finished with a total of 5 interceptions, and one Trojan who finished with 2 of those INTs says the success on the field is simply a result of good coaching.
Really just following Coach Vic's plan of just staying focused and being in the right spot at the right time, because he's just a mastermind at putting us in the right spot.
But aside from the 5 interceptions, the Trojan defense gave up over 500 yards of offense to the Aggies.
Really, we just did not have a good discipline of our eyes, and we really just got off track of where we were supposed to be. So really just have to harp on just listening to what Coach Vic's telling us and focus this week.
Well, I'm fired up that we made 5 interceptions. I'm fired up we held them to 6 points. I'm not necessarily fired up about how we played overall, because I know for us to beat who we need to beat in this league to get to where we want to get to, we're going to have to play a lot better.
And if you still aren't convinced by the Trojans' defensive play thus far, yes, they gave up over 500 yards, but they lead the nation in interceptions with 10, and they are third in turnovers forced with 12.
And the soccer team was also back in action on Sunday afternoon right here in Troy. The Trojans took the field against conference foe Louisiana Lafayette in search of their 6th win of the season. Well, the Trojans found themselves staring up out of an early 2-0 deficit, but then a 2-hour lightning delay paved the way for Trojans to regroup. And when play resumed, Troy's Annabelle Simpson scored her first goal of the season in the 49th minute. Nicole Harris found the back of the net in the 77th minute after a cross from the wing from her teammate Haley Robertson. After fighting back from a 2-0 deficit, the Trojans took Lafayette into 2 overtimes, but it was the Raging Cajuns who came out on top by a final score of 3-2.
We were the better team and we played very well. We were able to get the 2 goals back and have chance after chance on 16 corners and 15 shots or so. It's, we just didn't have someone put one in the back of the goal. Their goalkeeper made some great saves at the end. And then I think, it comes down to, again, a willingness, right? We knew what to be prepared for. They've got a player with a long throw. They're just going to throw it in the box and hopefully something happens. And, it's a willingness to defend that, and we didn't, and we paid the price there at the end.
Troy entered Sunday's contest with 69 corner kicks, which was good enough for 2nd in the league. Well, they added to that total after lining up for 16 corner kicks in the defeat.
And now let's get into some Trojan volleyball. Tonight, let's tip it all off with some Trojan volleyball. And the Trojans were back in action inside Trojan Arena on Sunday against the UT Arlington Mavericks, looking to snap a 6-game losing streak. The Trojans fell behind early in the first set after the Mavericks opened up the game on a 10-0 run en route to a 25-11 win. The Trojans kept it close in the second set with 12 ties and 4 lead changes. But once again, it was the Mavericks who took the set by a final of 25-21. And in the third set, the Trojans couldn't seem to gather any momentum, losing the third and earning their 11th loss of the season. And as you can see by head coach Sunday Kirkpatrick's demeanor, this was a tough loss for this Trojan team.
It's apparent that the last 2 matches we as a coaching staff didn't have our team ready. They need to do a better job of being mentally prepared to go out and to compete at a high level. This is Division I athletics, and what we did today is totally unacceptable.
Senior Leah Causey led the Trojans in kills in Sunday's match with 6.
The Trojan cross country team raced away here in Trojan territory over the weekend, and the Trojan cross country invitational came away with the victory and a 2nd place finish. On the men's side, 6 Trojan runners took every spot in the top 6 in the men's finish over miles in the 8K race. Sophomore Zachary Bias finished in 1st place for the Trojans, with junior Eric Schuler finishing close behind in 2nd place. And as for the women, the Trojans finished in 2nd place in the 5K race behind Georgia State. Senior Samantha Smith earned her first top 5 finish of the year by coming in 4th place. The Trojans had 2 other top 10 finishes in juniors Sarah Zauchka and Erica Colt. And with 3 meets now under their belt and an impressive outing over the weekend, head coach Elliott Blount comments on his team's performance.
I was getting to the point where with the women I was like, I'm going to have to push the panic button here, but they kind of turned things around and mentally got behind a good effort. The times were what they were, but they went out there and actually competed and had that focus for the whole 5K, which is huge. The men, though we sat out probably 5 or 6 of the top 7 guys, they handled business, and were able to sweep Miles College, even though their competition wasn't as fierce as it's going to be at conference. They competed and they showed up the way they had to for that competition. I was pleased on both sides.
The Trojans are now 1 month out from conference championships.
So to come on Trojan Sports now, we'll have a preview of the Trojan football team's matchup against Idaho.
But first, Ryan Renfrow sits down with golf sophomore Lindsey Harrison. Stick around for more Trojan Sports now.